My topic today is a little removed from my regular subject mix, but is one that we should all be concerned about anyway. Israeli national identity is something I have been very outspoken about, especially when much of the world would be perfectly happy for Israel to disappear as the nation state of the Jewish people. We at the AJA are naturally keen to advocate for the existence of Israel as a Jewish state. After all, most other ethnic groups of religious or national background are recognised in legitimate states in their own historical land. So why should the Jews be any different? To some we are not, albeit that we have plenty of enemies who think otherwise. January the 26th is Australia Day, and has always marked the anniversary of the arrival of the First Fleet in New South Wales in 1788, and the raising of the British flag at Sydney Cove by Captain Arthur Phillip. But over the years, the leftist politicians and media have been undermining the significance of this day because when all this happened 233 years ago, the local Aboriginal population was subsequently decimated by the English colonising forces. I don't for a minute want to downplay the tragedy that befell the Indigenous people living in this land at the time, but it hasn't been ignored. It may have taken a while, but white Australia has indeed apologised and tried to make reparations to the Indigenous communities for what happened. Admittedly, this has not always been overly successful, and there is still work to be done. But Australia Day is about recognising all the cultures that make up this amazing country and the contributions they have made, including, I might add, the very significant contribution made by post-war Jews who emigrated here. For a while now, the radical left has been speaking about Australia Day in terms of an invasion by the British, which was the way of the world in those days. However, this year it has taken a step further with the Australian Broadcasting Commission, our ABC, officially declaring the 26th of January to be not Australia Day, but, quote, Invasion Day. What private companies do is their own business, but how on earth can a public broadcaster have the temerity to cancel all the achievements and successes of a whole country because of their woke ideology? This is beyond offensive. White culture may not be perfect and has made many mistakes over the centuries, but it has generally provided the most democratic, free, safe and open societies in the long history of evolution from authoritarian rule to democracy. We should be proud of it, not ashamed. Jewish history is remarkable for the way that the Jewish people maintained their ethnic identity without a homeland for centuries, and in the face of massive opposition, massive oppression. There are parallels, and we see a similar campaign by the Palestinians who commemorate their Nakba Day on the day of Israel's independence. Similarly, with the stroke of a pen, the ABC wants to wipe all Australian history away and play the victim card on behalf of the Indigenous Aboriginal people by focusing on the wrongs that were perpetrated, yes, genuine ones, instead of the whole picture that includes Australia's amazing accomplishments. How dare they? As a Jew living in Australia, I am proud of both my Jewish and Australian identities. I am proud of what a success Australia has become, and to borrow a Jewish theme for a moment, how it has become something of a light unto the nations in many areas of human endeavour. We do a lot of things better in this country than anywhere else in the world. It is Australia Day, and it should not just be cancelled by the woke media. I can't tell you how insulting this is to the majority of Australians. I haven't been watching or listening to the ABC for years now because of their anti-Israel bias, but this latest stunt takes the cake. It is just one more example of how the left is aiming to turn back the clocks and replace the modern, decent society we have now with an authoritarian one based on their socialist ideals. Just like in the Middle East, when there is wrong, we need to fight it and also speak up to right it. To our Aussie viewers, this year, make sure your voice is heard in whatever available forums you have available to you. This is Alan Freedman for the Australian Jewish Association.